Okay, folks, joining us now on the phone, ranking member of the House Judiciary Committee, Republican Georgia Congressman Doug Collins. Good morning, Congressman. How are you?
Good morning, Brian. Hope you're well.
We're doing well here in North Georgia. Beautiful weather. We can't complain. I've got some. We're on a hard time limit this morning. We understand you're very busy, so I've got some very pointed questions I want to get to. First and foremost, Attorney General William Barr. He put out a summary of the Mueller Report, and he held a press conference concerning the Mueller Report. Are you satisfied that the American people, and are you got the information correctly from Attorney General Barr? Because there's a lot of negative things being said about the AG. Are you satisfied with what the Attorney General has done, how he's handled it and presented it to the country?
Yes, I have. He has done everything he said he would do. He's followed the law. I've said this before. I said it the other night. I think the Democrats are not used to having what an attorney general actually looks like. They had to deal with Holder and Lynch, who absolutely hid behind everything. They covered for President Obama. They hid behind executive privilege. This attorney general has said, we're going to put it out there so people can see it. I'm one of the only people outside the Department of Justice who have seen the less redacted version. I've seen everything except for about 2% of the entire report, because I chose to go up on and to the Department of Justice and read what he made accommodations for us to read. My Democratic colleagues have said they would rather make political statements than actually go read the report. I'm very satisfied with what he's done. It still says no collusion by any stretch of the imagination and no charge of obstruction. I think it's just what the American people have gotten, and now it's time for the Democrats to either decide to move on, or if they want to take down the political road of impeachment, then they need to bear the consequences of that. But they need to just figure out what they want to do and move on.
Okay, so you have read the unredacted version that they have subpoenaed your committee there, Jerry Nadler, the chairman. You have read the unredacted version, and after reading that, do you feel that something's being held back that the American people need to know, or do you feel with the redacted version that we, the people out here, have accurate information and enough to go on to understand what this report was about and what it is?
You have every bit of information you need to know. There's nothing in the redactions that changes the conclusions, it changes the facts, it changes anything. It has to do with ongoing investigations and other things that were discussed, just like the Attorney General said. It changes nothing, and it just simply, the American people have the information that they need to have. And also Congress, again, has as well, but also, can go get more if they wanted to. They can see this unredacted part. They choose not to. They choose to play politics with it. But the American people can ensure there's nothing being hidden from them, from the fact that they couldn't see. In fact, if anything, Bill Barr has been overly generous in what he chose to share between him and Robert Mueller and Rod Rosenstein. What they have chosen to share, they have been very consistent, and I think the American people should actually be applauding the transparency of this Attorney General.
All right, so the report, no collusion, no obstruction, and that's what Attorney General Barr said after him and the Deputy Attorney General presented it, that they've come to the conclusion there was no obstruction. But with no collusion at all, am I correct in saying that if there was never an investigation, knowing there was nothing there from the beginning, Congressman, that's what we feel out here. There was nothing from the beginning. All of the obstruction they talk about, the 10 different times, that's not possible. You can't have obstruction if you didn't have what I call a phony investigation to begin with, because all the things you're calling obstruction are after the fact of this report taking place or investigation. Am I wrong?
Well, I think you've hit on the issue. If there was never, an investigation, there would never been the discussions of these incidents that you found in the report. Which, by the way, and I want to make clear to your listeners and everybody else, the obstruction part, Volume 2 of the Mueller Report, I've read the entire thing. The report in Volume 2 is the least redacted of the entire report. In fact, so anybody who wants to discuss obstruction, which most of these cases were out in the public eye, they can go and look at it, and they found that Robert Mueller and Weissman and the other attorneys over there found that they could not, charge obstruction. And they didn't leave it to Congress to go figure out to do this. They simply said that Congress has the ability to make the laws, the executive has the ability to carry it out, and that's the way the constitutional balance has been. I think the argument is was there actually a problem of collusion to begin with? And I think what we found is no. So I think it's an issue here that really, at the end of the day, says the collusion wasn't found, no Americans participated. That should be a good day for America. It's a good day for transparency. And were there these other instances that came out of these that, we're arguing about now? Yes. But I guess at the end of the day, my question comes is, could they have closed the collusion case earlier? That's one of the questions that I frankly have is, number one, two questions for Robert Mueller. Well, number one, when did you come firmly to the conclusion that there was no collusion in your investigation? Number one. Number two, when did why didn't you investigate the very cause of this investigation, which was the dossier, the other issues that were out there, which we find no evidence that they looked into, although they did look into other issues. So these are the kind of things that, I think going forward is why we're wanting to know, and wanting to get to the bottom of how this all started at DOJ to start with. And Bill Barr has said that he's willing to look into that.
Well, you said your question for Robert Mueller, the special counsel, so let me follow on that. Are you looking to have Robert Mueller testify before your committee? Is that something that's going to come up here soon? And while I have you on that, they have White House counsel, former White House counsel Don McGahn. There's been a subpoena for him, which the president is pushing back on. So what exactly is going on in the House Judiciary Committee with Jerry Nadler, the chairman, Democrat congressman from New York, and what do we expect to see?
You would expect to see more political theatrics. I mean, he is being pulled, just like their whole conference is being pulled on this issue of what do we do with the president. Many of their very liberals members ran on impeaching the president, and some of their members who are still talking about that. Their leadership, Pelosi and Hoyer, and even Schiff now has changed his time. They would rather just do what I'll call the paint and smear for the next 18 months up to the presidential election. They have subpoenaed Robert Mueller, Bill Barr, and Don McGahn to come and be a part of that. I think the White House is pushing back on Don McGahn. We'll see how that all goes around. But Robert Mueller's supposed to, at least in theory, is supposed to come toward the end of the month of May. Bill Barr will be there next week. So it's just, again, a lot of these hearings, the report's out there. Now it's just a matter of spinning it in the way that you think is politically expedient.
We have 2 minutes, Congressman. I need to get some quick questions and answers here. Number one, do you really, you said this, but do you expect Attorney General Barr to actually go and look at what he calls the genesis of this? Can the American people expect this Attorney General to be serious about that and look at that?
Yes, he's not lied to us yet, and I don't say he's already said that he wants to look into it, and he's looking into it. I have no reason to doubt him.
Do you think the Attorney General is waiting for Inspector General Horowitz's report on the FISA warrant abuse report or looking into it? And do you think he's going to move after that? When do you think we'll get that IG report? Do you think the Attorney General is going to look into this when that comes out and we have that information? And could that be the cause of appointing another special counsel from the Attorney General's office?
I don't think you need another special counsel. I think it's something that I would have liked to have seen early on. I think now, if we continue on, if you have an attorney general who's actually acting upon it, he has all the power in the world to police his own department. This is where this comes from. You already have U.S. Attorney Huber out in Utah who is looking into this, who I believe has been given even new instructions now to continue this process of looking into what I call the corrupt cabal that was there from Comey and Strzok and Page and McCabe and Baker and others. But also the Inspector General report should come out in May or June. I've talked to the Inspector General. That's when he believes that his report will be finished, barring, last minute, whistleblowers or others who come forward. I think it's going to be very eye-opening. I think it's going to be very damaging for those who were part of this process. I believe that there will be recommended changes to our FISA system through this, and I believe Bill Barr will continue to take not only that case, but also Congress will be able to take that case and move forward. These are positive developments in making sure that our government operates to the justice of everybody, no matter what their political persuasion is.
How do you feel, and last question, or how do you feel, Congressman, let's talk about, you're the ranking member. Republicans are on the minority side of things in the House right now with Nancy Pelosi being Speaker. How do you feel, and the House in general, the Republican caucus there, feel about the opportunity and possibility of taking back the House in 2020? How do you guys feel about that up there in Washington?
Well, we're going to do everything in our power to do that. We've got to make sure that we continue on a message of building on what we did the first 2 years with this president, having an economic condition that is incredible, having tax cuts that people can actually see, having deregulation that keeps jobs moving. We need to continue to focus on meat and potato issues that people care about. We do need to talk about the ways that we had attempted to do healthcare, but we didn't succeed at. I think that is a failure that we're going to continue to have to discuss. We need to discuss immigration. We need to discuss securing our borders. We need to make sure that Americans feel like that we have actual plans and solutions, whereas the Democrats over the past first 100 days have delivered an empty basket of political rhetoric and press release. They chose to govern by press release instead of actually using the power that the American people gave them. If that's what they want to continue to do, then fine. We're going to continue to work for what the American people need to see.
10 seconds. You feel the Democrats, no matter what they're saying to the media, are powering forward with their intentions to try to impeach the President of the United States?
I'm not sure. Look, I think they want to impeach, but they don't. They know that it's politically untenable. I think you're going to see a lot more paint and smear, what I call hearings, in which they're just going to try innuendo after innuendo, and they're just going to try and paint and smear the president to weaken him for the 2020 election. If they think they can do impeachment, they may try it. But look, they're smart enough to know that that's something the American people don't want to see happen, and independent voters won't want to see happen. But they're going to do everything in their power to do a paint and smear campaign with these, with Judiciary Committee, Oversight Committee, and also the other committees in trying to deal with the president.
Congressman, have a wonderful day. Thank you very much, and we appreciate you for always coming on and talking with our audience.
Take care. Y'all have a great day. Bye-bye.
All right, folks, you our guest there. Let me just go over that one more time. House Judiciary Committee Ranking Member Republican Doug Collins from right here in Georgia, 9th Congressional District, our congressman if you're in our area. And hey, there you go. Democrats finally got to see a real attorney general. Maybe that was pretty good. I like that line. They just didn't recognize what an attorney general looked like. They've had Holder, Loretta Lynch, and then we had Beauregard, right? So anyhow, they're looking at a real attorney general. They don't know how to act over it. I'm your host, BKP. We're going to take a break. We're going to come back. We're going to have Carla's Corner, and then after Carla's Corner, we're going to break down some things the congressman said. We've got a lot more stuff coming up for you this morning. Take us to break, Josh.